The V&A doesn't just collect objects celebrating Western design and industry.
The V&A has one of the most important collections of artifacts from South and Southeast Asia. Everything from sculpture, jewellery, beautiful paintings, to an amazing collection of textiles. And it's my role to bring in new narratives. I'm very keen that the gallery be brought up to date so that we have more object displays.
Today, Divya is meeting curator Avalon to inspect a rare fabric produced by one of the oldest cottage industries in Bangladesh.
What we have here is a Jamdani stole. It's a kind of patterned muslin from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Our stole is really just a narrow scarf, something that would form the perfect accessory to a beautiful gown.
The ancient Bengali city of Dhaka was home of the Jamdani, a fabric that takes its name from an intricate process of weaving decorative designs on a loom.
Dhaka muslin had a reputation as being some of the finest, most transparent, sheerest fabrics ever woven by human hands. They were hugely popular luxury trade goods back into ancient times to the Romans and the Greeks. They earned beautiful names in Persian, calling them running water and woven air.
You can see the sheerness in these miniature paintings. I mean, here, she looks almost nude, doesn't she?
Yeah, I love this piece because it reminds me of a specific legend of a princess wearing 7 layers of Dhaka muslin, but appears to be walking naked around the palace and is told off by her father. And this seems like just a beautiful illustration of that legend.
Acquired in 1852 as one of the founding objects of the museum, this Dhaka muslin has never left the sanctuary of the stores.
Why this particular piece has never been put on display before is a mystery. It is gorgeous and it deserves its time in the sun.
But this delicate textile isn't yet ready for the public gaze.
At the moment, the Jamdani stole looks every year of its 171 years of age.
But if there's anyone who can tackle a fabric supposedly made of woven air, it's the conservators of the textile workshop.
I know you're going to say it's filthy, and you're right.
The job of cleaning it falls to Elizabeth Ann.
We have a stain there, and more staining, just general griminess.
It's obviously got wet at some point because we've got these big tide lines here.
We have a couple of things that we need to preserve, the historic labels. We know that this particular piece has never been washed because it still has on it its original stickers from when it was first purchased by the V&A. I don't think they need to stay on the textile, but we have to hold on to them as part of the history of the object.
What's W86?
So it means woven 86. So that's the original sticker that was put on it when it was purchased, which means this was the 86th textile that the museum purchased from the Great Exhibition in 1851.
Held in Hyde Park, London, the Great Exhibition of 1851 celebrated art and industrial prowess from around the world.
It has a lot of importance, especially for the V&A, because out of the Great Exhibition came the core collection of things that were initially purchased to build this museum. The Indian Pavilion was absolutely one of the highlights. They had rave reviews just for the richness and the quality of the pieces on display. And that includes this Jamdani stole. I doubt that whoever wove this imagined that it was going to last for the next 171 years.
I know.
I leave it in your capable hands.
Back at the museum, it's bath time for the 171-year-old muslin.
So we've got our trusty garden hose here, plumbed in to our deionised water source. This is definitely one of the most delicate objects that I've had to conserve. It is just incredibly fine. So I'm just going to put some glass weights. You don't want your object to go down the plug hole.
The fragile, grimy muslin has had its first rinse in Elizabeth Ann's custom-made bath.
The detergents we use are not the same as you would buy from the supermarket. We use pure detergents that have been tested by scientists for conservation use. I will cover it with a protective layer of net. Iron is the very fine weave. The danger is always in the handling of an object when it's wet, so it would be really, really easy to tear this. This sponging action moves the detergent through the textile. Hopefully release the soiling. It's the balance between trying to get the dirt off the object, yet not using so much pressure that it would damage the object. So I'm going to let it soak in the bath for a while. It's such an incredible piece, this. When you're working up close, you think about who was it who made this piece.
From cotton field to loom, creating Dhaka muslin required artistry and expertise passed down through generations.
Those who were picking it had all sorts of specialized tools. They would use the jawbone of a particular fish that had very close set teeth to be able to pull and clean the seeds out of the cotton staples itself. The skill it took to spin the threads, mostly done by women and girls, was extraordinary. They're so fine, they're often compared to cobwebs. And for the men who wove them, it could only be done in conditions of high humidity, which kept the threads moist enough to prevent them from breaking. This, in fact, led to mythology that they'd been woven underwater by mermaids.
But this labor-intensive craft didn't survive commercial exploitation by Western powers.
The East India Company imported industrially spun yarns, and therefore the hand spinning industry was completely decimated, particularly in the early 19th century. This meant the expertise and the skills that were required to make pieces like ours were essentially lost. So what we're looking at here is a time capsule, as it were, of Jamdani weaving.
The muslin has spent 3 hours in the most meticulous laundrette in Britain. Curator Avalon is keen to see if there's an improvement in its condition.
How's it going?
Hello, Avalon.
Do you get a sense that stains are shifting?
It's definitely lightened a bit, but it's still got quite a kind of dark line of soiling.
It would be a little disappointing if the stains don't shift a little bit more than they currently are. I'd really like to see it looking a little bit brighter than it is at the moment.
We can only try our best, but there's no magic wand.
That said, Elizabeth Ann does have one final trick up her sleeve.
This is an ultrasonic wand. Let's hope it works. It was made specially for us. It creates tiny, tiny little bubbles, and that helps to move the soiling in the textile. It's a very stubborn textile. It's holding on to all that dirt. The problem is the wand is really small and the textile is quite large. So it will take quite a long time to go over it.
But time is against Elizabeth Ann. A group of 22 Jamdani experts are due at the museum to view the stole, and it needs to look its best.
There are a lot of expectations around this object. We will try everything possible within what the textile can stand, and we will see what the result is when it's dry.
Two floors down, Curator Avalon is inspecting the freshly laundered Jamdani. It needs to be clean enough to go on display.
This is just stunning.
Phew.
You've washed away 170 years worth of dirt. This is amazing. Wow, look at that. So much better. It actually looks white. It looks white again. Oh. Elizabeth Ann has done a stupendous job. It's looking incredible for sure.
Phew.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
The stall is ready for its first visitors since the Great Exhibition of 1851.
So I'm very excited.
I am too, yeah. This is going to be the ultimate test for this piece because these ladies know their Jamdani.
The Muslin Trust works to promote and to preserve historic Bangladeshi textiles.
Here in the UK, Jamdani saris are particularly important for the Bangladeshi community. They're very much part of their cultural identity, and it's something that is linked to a heritage that they want to preserve.
Once only the attire of the aristocracy, Jamdani saris are now widely worn at special occasions.
Come on in.
So much to see. This is beautiful. How they make this beautiful art, and it's purely magic. Looks really lovely. You can see the intricacy of the thing, little flowers. Each one is individually made, and I think of the people who have made them, so I feel special in a way. Things which are made by human beings' own hand, I think it has a special value.
Here we have a historic example that's been in our collection since 1851. This is one of the founding pillars of the museum.
Like many Bangladeshi women, Johanna's mother spent hours embroidering patterns similar to these.
This pattern, because my mom did that. Sorry.
We're helping people keep a craft alive, and that's what we're here for.
I never seen it before. Today I had the chance to see it, and I'm really pleased.